just beautiful. It's a piece of art in and of itself.
This is what happens when white trash money meets reality TV fame. It's not pretty, and it's not royal. If Christine was considered polygamist royalty, then Robin might best be described as polygamist white trash, or at least common stock. She always gave off the impression of someone who grew up with less money, less education, and definitely less understanding of the lifestyle she married into. Her spending habits are baffling, often focused on frivolous items, and her communication style doesn't help matters.
Because I got excited about something, and it was just stupid. I mean, this is just one.
Constantly searching for words, using phrases like really, really stupid, only makes her sound, well, exactly that. Mary and Janelle seem to sit somewhere in between, neither polished nor chaotic. They're not quite royalty, but not fully cast in the same mold as Robin either. The spending is particularly telling. From doll clothes to fairy journals, the aesthetic is more nicotine-stained porcelain dolls than minimalist elegance. Junk journaling is typically a quiet, creative hobby.
It's a junk journal. It's basically a journal with a whole bunch of pictures and
Buying pre-made journals like they're collector's items, that's a new level of misplaced luxury. There also seems to be long-standing envy toward Christine, particularly in community status.
The thing, I bought a fifth wheel.
No, you did.
And I'm moving out on the property on a fifth wheel.
Robin always appeared eager to outshine her, often being the first to answer questions or insert herself in conversations, even when it wasn't her place. Her background adds some context.
we have this crazy steep dirt hill.
I want to look at the mountains.
Part of her upbringing was reportedly spent on a compound in Montana, rundown homes, trailer-like conditions, and limited resources. Not an unusual setting in certain communities, where assistance like food stamps and welfare are common.
For moving out onto the property.
What do you guys think about this situation?
Yet, despite this, there's an irony in how her children mock Janelle's RV, as if they hadn't lived in similar conditions. It's a classic case of overcompensation, trying to erase humble beginnings by adopting a facade of wealth and refinement.
This was maybe because it just oozes class. Just beautiful. It's a piece of art in and of itself.
This obsession with appearing affluent likely explains the purchases: garish art, unnecessary jewelry, and impractical investments justified as symbols of status. As one daughter reportedly noted, Cody considers their art a financial investment. In reality, the decor is more sentimental yard sale than Sotheby's auction. As for Robin's past, her family dynamics reflect more dysfunction than tradition. Her mother was a second wife, living separately, and Robin's own history includes a relationship with a man who had been dating her sister, until Robin became pregnant. No religious nuance there, just textbook dysfunction.
They knelt by his grave, crying. Not just for Garrison, but for the father they never had.
Aspen's wedding stands out as one of the last moments where the Brown family seemed even remotely united.
We're all going to the wedding today. Aspen and Mitch left yesterday, and the wedding's in 2 days.
Before the family leaves for Utah, Hunter tells Christine that Garrison might actually be able to attend. He does make it, and there's a brief moment where the parents acknowledge how special it is to have all the children and their partners together.
Yeah, but if he's about to hit somebody...
During the ceremony, Garrison is shown sitting with Dayton and young Solomon between them. As Aspen walks down the aisle, Garrison gently moves Solomon to the aisle seat and rests his hands on his shoulders. A quiet, caring gesture that speaks volumes. It echoes past stories, like how he built planter boxes for Truly or how much he enjoyed spending time with the younger kids. These weren't just one-off moments. They were part of who he was.
Everybody was together, except for one.
Episodes that focus on Garrison carry particular weight, especially the one in which he is laid to rest. His siblings kneel at his grave, crying, leaving tokens, their grief palpable. It was a deeply emotional expression of their love for him, love that can no longer be shared in person, but continues in memory and mourning. Garrison and Hunter clearly cared deeply for the younger children.
Come over. I really would just like to hang out with you and hang out with Truly.
When Truly returned from the hospital, it was Hunter she went to first. Garrison, as the middle child, often felt overlooked, but did his best to be a strong, loving role model. He had a kind heart and a deep bond with his mother. His siblings understood him. The older children knew who he was. Their father, however, never truly seemed to. Logan, Hunter, Garrison, and Gabe took their responsibilities seriously. They modeled their roles after Logan and Aspen, who had set a quiet standard for maturity and care. As the children grew into their own ideas and identities, that's when parenting became more complicated, when real effort was needed. And it became increasingly clear that their father wasn't up to that challenge.
Garrison is at Army basic training. He's actually part of the Nevada National Guard, the Army.
When Garrison returned from basic training, or perhaps at a family gathering around that time, he was seen holding one of Robin's children. It was typical of the older boys. They made being a good brother part of who they were. They looked out for the younger kids, including Robin's, and treated them with the same warmth they gave the rest. There has always been a distinction in the family, one side that could separate personal conflict from relationships with the children. For example, even if some had issues with Mary, they maintained love and support for Leon. Though there may have been tension with Robin, her children were treated with care and inclusion by the others. Unfortunately, Robin herself seemed to resist letting her children fully integrate into the larger family structure, especially one she didn't control. She created distance, slowly isolating them from the other children and their extended support network. She first removed them from their biological father's world, and then from the wider family unit she had once pushed them into. The long-term emotional cost of that decision is still unfolding. Christine has shared stories of Garrison dropping by to play with Truly, scooping her up for spontaneous fun, or helping her build something in the yard for her birthday. It's believed that their father had once promised to do that project himself, but, as so often happened, never followed through. Watching these moments again with hindsight makes the contrast painfully clear. The older children received little attention. The original wives were slowly pushed aside.
Garrison, do not be disrespectful.
Don't correct me when it comes to parenting, please.
And when Garrison openly told Robin she was welcome to their father, he wasn't being dramatic, he was being honest. He had already seen the truth, that the children had grown up without the man who was supposed to lead them, and by then, they no longer needed him to. They didn't just break up, they engineered the collapse, strategically, and years in advance.
I think after we moved to Flagstaff, all of us were seeing fractures.
Some believe that Cody foresaw the eventual divorces, soon after the families moved to Flagstaff.
Basically, we're paying 5 mortgages with our land, and we're paying rent times.
The move wasn't just about a fresh start. It bought him time to mix funds, obscure financial trails, and make the family's money harder to trace. This wasn't a solo effort. From the beginning, Cody and Robin worked together.
We were definitely at a weakened place, I think even way back.
Robin needed to establish a friendship with Mary first, gain her trust, and ultimately convince her to give up the legal marriage. Once that was secured, Mary was no longer necessary. Robin's sudden distance wasn't accidental, it was strategic. Still, Robin continued to benefit from Mary's resources, despite cutting off the relationship. Cody didn't want Christine or Janelle to leave. He wanted them to stay connected to the family, at least on paper, maintaining appearances, contributing financially, and remaining quiet.
You and I have been acting like we weren't a married couple for most of our marriage, Janelle.
When he told Christine that many marriages are intimateless, it wasn't an observation, it was a justification. The goal was for her to stay in a relationship without intimacy, while he maintained a full relationship with Robin.
I've really struggled. I've been pretty grouchy, very, very angry.
So you're still kind of angry and stuff?
His frustration over Christine leaving stems from the fact that she was the first to walk away. That decision disrupted the structure, giving Mary and Janelle the clarity and confidence to do the same. The result? The carefully controlled dynamic began to unravel.
I'm saying to you that you and I get that if you're loyal to me.
He presented his plan as if it were reasonable: one-sided intimacy, selective commitment, and full access to resources. It's baffling that he expected agreement rather than rejection. It's unlikely he ever intended to end up with just one wife. Letting go of Mary may have been part of the plan, but Christine's departure was unexpected.
And she said we were divorced. And basically, that's been months now.
If he had seen it coming, he likely wouldn't have removed his name from her home. His reaction, still laced with visible anger, isn't performance. It's the outrage of someone who believed he was in control, only to find out he wasn't.
Cody Brown doesn't smell like cologne. He smells like delusion. And that's just the beginning. Once exuding a mix of dirty socks and spearmint gum, Cody has evolved, or at least tried to.
It smells really good. You want me to show you a couple of the smells?
Yes.
This is everyone's favorite smell. This is called a Grand.
Now he's all LA Looks hair gel, a dash of whatever sticky substance his youngest smeared on him, and heavy-handed sprays of Dior Sauvage. A man convinced that smelling like Johnny Depp will somehow fix everything.
Can't stand his sense of smell. He smells.
It's not a personality thing.
Well, it is when you take smells.
Underneath it all, a base note of testosterone and chronic disappointment, with hints of Burberry and Gold Bond powder in a desperate bid for relevance.
Like smelling the smell of testosterone.
Robin, a walking candle aisle. In earlier years, she gave off cherry Kool-Aid and bargain bin sunflowers perfume.
That's a salmon right there.
Now she leans into Parfum de Marly, Delina, pricey, ultra-feminine, and overpowering. The floral musk combo hits somewhere between high-end boutique and overly perfumed funeral home. Add undertones of potpourri, old mascara, and metal-tinted jewelry polish for an unsettling finish. Mary, the scent of self-reinvention and synthetic fabrics. Once defined by at-home tanning lotion and cucumber melon body spray, she now oscillates between Mrs. Meyer's basil cleaner and Wilhelm mango skin perfume. Bright, almost fruity, bordering on forced. LuLaRoe polyester and freshly applied lipstick round out her signature blend.
Oh, I gotta put on sunscreen, man. Whoa, dude.
There's also a constant trace of floral air freshener and sunscreen, like a hopeful day out that never quite lands. Janelle, a masterclass in neutrality. She has no strong scent, and that's the point. The occasional trace of Gain dryer sheets, mild shampoo, or Dove powder deodorant is all that lingers. Practical, subtle, and completely unbothered by fragrance trends. A scentless void in a sea of overcompensation.
Yes, I smell lovely. You wanna smell my workout ball?
Christine, equal parts comfort and liberation. Previously scented like baby formula and lilac Febreze, her evolution is now marked by warm vanilla notes, home-baked brownies, and hints of Miss Dior, gifted and worn with purpose. Occasionally, her scent is defined by whatever's cooking in the kitchen: guacamole, cinnamon rolls, or ambition. The base: road trips, pheromones, and a confident woman finally free. You won't believe what Robin was buying while Isabel was in pain. Does Cody even realize how much money Robin has spent just on Etsy alone?
With the way that my credit is now, I am not going to qualify. I have a bunch of old debt that's in.
Given her past history with secret credit cards, it's not far-fetched to wonder if she's still hiding purchases. The real question is, how much has she spent that wasn't hers to begin with?
This dollhouse has been my dream forever since.
The infamous doll collection is likely just a fraction of her total shopping habits. It's reasonable to assume she spends far more on jewelry, artwork, and other luxury items. That said, Cody is hardly innocent.
Designing pieces of jewelry for each of my wives. Christine?
He has a long-standing pattern of spending lavishly on himself. High-end jewelry, designer watches, expensive clothing, cosmetic treatments, cars, and recreational vehicles. His hobbies are well-funded, while the needs of his children are often deprioritized.
The contrast is particularly jarring when remembering the struggle Christine endured just to secure necessary back surgery for Isabel. Meanwhile, Robin was free to make extravagant purchases without apparent concern.
But I don't think when I married each one of these women.
Cody appears entirely indifferent to Robin's impact on his other relationships. If he had no issue with her role in the breakdown of his other marriages and distancing from his children, it's unlikely he takes issue with her spending habits. She receives whatever she wants, without question.
I couldn't pay my mortgage on that. It's really not viable, I don't think.
Recently approved for a significant mortgage, it's safe to assume he's aware of their financial commitments. The evidence of unchecked spending is visible in the accumulation of packages and goods throughout their home. This financial freedom also seems to serve as justification for his own costly indulgences.
And, not having to move from house to house with a duffel bag all the time now is a big deal.
Cody's motivation seems clear: convenience. As long as Robin makes his life easier, he allows her whatever she pleases. His disinterest in discomfort, conflict, or responsibility appears to drive every decision. Polygamy for him was a system of avoidance, moving between homes, maintaining a superficial presence, and leaving when the situation became emotionally taxing.
She comes over, she helps with caring for the kids, and she helps with schooling the kids.
Robin, for her part, lives comfortably with domestic help, older children, and a lifestyle that revolves around leisure, shopping, and personal interests. She shows little concern for the lives or struggles of anyone outside her immediate household, as long as her routine remains undisturbed. They made her the villain. But here's what the show never told you about Mary. In the early seasons, it's hard to ignore some very telling details.
Listen, you guys think that this is my fifth wife?
While Cody took plenty of criticism for driving a flashy two-door convertible, it turns out Mary was driving one too. Possibly a hand-me-down after he upgraded to the now infamous white sports car.
Yes, because she's driving the van the whole time. That means that...
Meanwhile, the other wives were left with beat-up minivans, a visual cue that Mary operated separately from the rest of the family. She clearly wasn't doing carpool duty or helping with the school run. Her relationships with Janelle and Christine appeared strained long before the cameras arrived. While they were buried in household chaos and child rearing,
she was like 500 boxes of fabric.
Mary spent her downtime secluded in her sewing room. She even reportedly put locks on her doors. Only when the show started gaining momentum did she reappear, playing the role of mother for the audience. Cody, for his part, also owned a Harley motorcycle during their Lehigh years. A questionable purchase for a man with a massive family struggling to afford the basics. Their memoir claims Mary split childcare duties evenly with Christine in the early years, caring for the kids, cooking, homeschooling, sewing clothes, even breastfeeding Maddie.
She gets behind the wheel, and then she sits there and checks out from how all the drama.
After the move to a shared home in Lehigh, she began working more and stepping back from parenting. That transition is far more compelling than the narratives viewers were given. Her early contributions to the family dynamic have often been overlooked. Despite facing infertility, she actively helped raise the other wives' children. Instead of being portrayed as a nurturing figure, the story centered on her jealousy and detachment.
In my situation, I didn't have enough. I wasn't producing enough breast milk, and she was hungry.
Janelle has publicly acknowledged Mary's support, though Christine continues to downplay it.
Okay, so we're gonna take my car to Bonnie Springs. Is that cool?
Criticism about Mary's home size or vehicle choices often lacks context. She may have had a small car, but that doesn't mean she didn't help transport kids when necessary.
The white sports car was definitely Cody's baby.
For the record, she never actually owned a convertible. The white sports car was passed around and eventually sold. During the early Las Vegas years, when Mary was working for the family's marketing business, Cody drove the company's bonus car. Mary was once seen as the head wife and possibly Cody's favorite before the family dynamic shifted. Yet she never undermined the structure or sabotaged relationships. In fact, she showed the capacity to prioritize the family's needs, something not everyone demonstrated equally. A prime example of that difference: Mary's handling of Truly's hospitalization during a major milestone for Leon. Compared to how another wife responded to Isabel's surgery, the contrast is stark. And during a later interview, one wife openly discouraged Mary's interest in returning to college, voicing extreme views about the risks of working outside the family business. These attitudes shut down Mary's efforts to reclaim the goals she once pursued in Lehigh, just as she was beginning to transition from stay-at-home parenting to a career of her own. Robin says all the kids are hers, so why did they need to knock before entering her house?
To me that I would take them. They're my kids too.
Ty.
Robin has said the original 13 kids are hers, sure. She said it out loud. But has she ever acted like they're hers? Not even close. If those kids were truly hers, as she claims,
My children were scolded if they would open up Robin's fridge.
why weren't they allowed to grab a snack in her kitchen or walk into the house without knocking? That's not how you treat your own children. That's how you treat acquaintances you barely tolerate. Her words say one thing, but her actions, completely different.
I love it that Robin is staying behind.
There was a moment during the Utah March when Christine temporarily gave Robin custody of her kids. It actually seemed sincere, like they were trying to show that the family structure worked and everyone really had each other's backs.
Well, my sister was diagnosed with colon cancer.
And then there was the time Mary spoke about losing her sister. She talked about how they all trusted one another to raise their kids if something happened. Robin jumped in and said she wouldn't hesitate to take in any of the children because they were hers too. Statements like that sound great, but they're constantly undermined by everything else she says and does.
Whereas, even with the adult children in Robin's house, she was able to maintain those rules.
Like claiming her own kids were never accepted, while putting up barriers that made the other kids feel exactly that way. Or being late to Logan's graduation. Or making the kids knock, ask for food, and constantly feel like they weren't truly welcome. She says they're all hers, but it's pretty clear she doesn't really mean it. All right, that's all for me here on Reality Nexus X. Appreciate you hanging out. It means more than you know. I'm Elena. Take care of yourself, and ta-ta for now.